Not only is the iPhone Air the thinnest iPhone yet, but they also claim it's the most durable. They've removed a few components this year to get it to be this thin, and I think that may actually make this more repairable. We'll remove the peel. Damn. This is actually my first time taking a look at the iPhone Air, and sure, it's thin, but it's also incredibly light. Like, you could just throw it in the air and it doesn't really feel like anything. The thing is though, if you measure only the camera bump on this device, it's actually technically thicker than the base model iPhone 17, which is something I found to be kind of interesting. Apple may have also left a cool little Easter egg for us this year. This is the iPhone Air battery pack, and we actually opened it up for a short video. iFixit actually pointed out that this battery looks a lot like the one in the iPhone Air. So in this video, we're gonna see if it is. We're gonna try putting this inside the iPhone Air and see if it works, but we'll be doing that later. People have been saying that this device is much easier to open up than usual, and for that reason, I'm gonna try opening it without using any heat. Let's see if that works. Everything about this phone is smaller. Even the pentalobe screws are smaller. They're usually much longer than this. We'll grab our clamp, and we're gonna start off with the front screen. I definitely don't recommend trying to remove the screen without heat, but if you have a clamp like this, it might just be possible. Doing it this way might actually break the screen, and you can see that the phone is literally in the air. That's because the plateau is absolutely massive. The clamp is under a lot of pressure right now. Damn, that scared me. The suction cup popped off the first time, but we're gonna put it a bit lower and try one more time. Never mind, we definitely have to do heat. That didn't work, but it would be pretty cool if it did. Now that we have a gap in the display, we could just apply some alcohol and it should just pop right up. It's always super satisfying to see that. Now we can remove the clamp, and quick word from sponsor. The iPhone 17 Air is Apple's thinnest phone yet, but its best accessory isn't made by Apple. This is the Plod Note Pro, and it works so well with this phone. You just snap it on and boom. Your iPhone turns into the smartest AI tool you'll ever use. While recording, you can take photos and add notes that go straight into your transcript. And if something important comes up, just tap once to mark that timestamp. It's got 5-meter voice pickup, noise cancellation, and overlapping voice detection, so nothing slips by. The new display shows your battery, recordings, and transfers. And even though it's only 2.99 millimeters thin, it runs 50 hours nonstop and up to 60 days on standby. The crazy part, the new version even adds a screen with 20 hours of recording time, and it's still the same size. You also get Apple's Find My, so even when my studio is a disaster, I can still track it down. Transfers are enterprise grade secure, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, or wired. And if your firmware is up to date, you can ask Plod to brainstorm, fact check, or even organize messy notes once you're done recording. If your life's a mess, this will clean it up. Check out Plod in the description and fix up your life. Okay, now it's time to take a look at the iPhone Air on the inside. We'll go ahead and open it up. It really looks like they shrunk down pretty much everything in this phone. Typically there'd be 2 chips on the display. There's only 1 this year, and we also have this flex cable leading all the way up to the motherboard. Over here we have the proximity sensor, and if you take a look at that front camera, you can see it's much larger. It's now 18 megapixels with that center stage feature, and I much prefer this layout than the iPhone 17 Pro Max. I did not like that layout at all. If you want to check out that video, we'll go ahead and disconnect the screen and the proximity sensor and turn this guy around. Opening it up from the back is pretty much the same process as before, and yes, of course, we're gonna use heat. Oh, the back glass actually comes off rather easily. It didn't take much. Now it's time to get a real look at the iPhone Air. We'll open it up, and that is the iPhone Air on the inside. This phone is absolutely gorgeous. It looks so much better than the 17 Pro and Pro Max. And I think we know which phone we're gonna be making transparent this year. It's definitely this one. It actually looks exactly the same, and we'll find out if it fits in a bit, but first let's get that back glass off. We'll place this on the camera for protection and unscrew. There's 2 tri-point screws here and 1 Phillips screw. Very easy to remove the back glass and replace it if you need to. On the back glass, we obviously have our MagSafe magnets. We have the 20-watt wireless charging coil, but if we go all the way up here, yeah, we have the plateau, but within the plateau is a plasticky material. And I'm gonna investigate this more when I do the transparent mod, because we're actually gonna have to remove everything on here. But for now, we'll put that aside. First things first, we're gonna unscrew every screw that we can see on the top over here. disconnect the battery. So far, we only have Phillips, tri, and standoff screws, which is pretty normal for the iPhone. We'll also disconnect every flex cable we can see, remove the front camera and Face ID assembly. It looks like the only speaker in the iPhone Air is now free, and we can just pull it out with no adhesive. The rubber gasket just goes inside this channel, and that creates enough of a seal that water won't get in. It also connects directly to the motherboard, which is not something we're used to seeing. There's these 3 contact points and 3 little pins on the speaker, and it connects that way. The thing is though, if water enters this device, these are more prone to corrosion, so that's something to be wary of. It looks like we only have one more screw holding in the motherboard, and now we can just pull up on the motherboard and remove it. This thing is absolutely tiny. I have no idea how they fit the A19 Pro chip in here and 12 gigabytes of RAM. This is the smallest iPhone motherboard I think I've ever seen. What's interesting is that only this side of the board is a sandwich board. Over here is just a single layer, and it's actually easier to perform board work on a single layer versus a sandwich board. The thing is though, this is insanely compact, so that might not be the case. Moving on to the camera, the only thing stopping me from switching, I wish there was more of them, but we only have one 48 megapixel Fusion camera. There's also a little booby trap behind this camera, so be very careful when you're removing it. There we go. We'll put that over there. Over here, we probably have an antenna. Up here is the microphone, and to the right over here is likely the NFC. It's time to remove the battery, and we're gonna be using this. Pretty much all new iPhones have electrically activated adhesive, but on the Air battery, you have to do them one at a time. So if we just connect this into power, we have to attach the positive terminal to one side, clip that on, and now we have to attach the negative terminal to a ground. We could just hold it on this plate over here and wait for about 1 minute. We'll do the other side. As much as I think this is cool, it's just extra work. Samsung's battery pull tabs are far superior. And if that worked, we should be able to just boom. Now that we have the battery removed, it's time to answer the question, how big is this? It's a 3,149 milliamp hour battery, or a 12.263 watt hour battery. We'll put the battery aside. So far, tearing this phone down has been an absolute breeze. There's a lot less screws on my table than there was with the Pro Max variant. We're going to remove all the bottom components, and then we're actually going to assemble the phone with the MagSafe battery pack battery. Let's see how easy it is to take apart the charging port. Removing the charging port components wasn't half as difficult as I thought it would be. There's less screws down here than most iPhones I've worked on, and aside from a hidden screw and tiny connectors, it was pretty easy to get components removed. It looks like now we can remove the charging port, and pretty much all you can see here is the pins. Usually there's some protection around the charging port, but they built that straight into the housing. A lot of companies are now doing this to keep their phone as thin as possible, and Apple's doing it too. Now I'm gonna throw this battery away and install this one. Hopefully it works. Putting this phone back together was pretty easy. I genuinely think that the iPhone Air is one of the most repairable iPhones that has come out in a long time. There's a lot less screws than the Pro Max, which I'm really grateful for. Now that it's pretty much put back together, it's time to install that Apple MagSafe battery in the iPhone Air. Let's see if this works. And the moment of truth, will it boot with the Apple MagSafe battery? Let's find out. We'll hold the power button, and we have the Apple logo. If this works, that means if you're ever in a pickle and you need a battery replacement on your iPhone Air, you can just pick up one of these and use it. And it booted. That's pretty cool. So the battery pack battery works on the iPhone Air. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. I really enjoyed tearing this phone down. I think Apple did a great job, and I'm disappointed with the Pro. Peace.